Hello, everybody. I'm here with Santos, Bonacci, and my friend Stephanie Lloyd. And tonight, there are so many things that we could talk about, but one of the things that I'm interested in talking about specifically is mind control, because we have to live in a world where fundamentally people are not thinking for themselves. They're allowing culture, whether it's popes or presidents, politicians or priests or the television news reporters to influence their thinking, or whether it's their parents or their friends or their teachers. People are losing the ability to think critically and are rapidly losing touch with what's going on in their own realities. So how are you doing today, Santos?
Oh, great, Russell. Thanks. And thanks, Stephanie, for joining me. I'm feeling great. Life is beautiful. I'm feeling the beautiful natural changes that are coming from the 2015 year. I'm hoping, as you are for sure, that things will be better than, say, 2014. I think humanity deserves it. We're longing for it. Everyone longs for peace. Everyone longs for a beautiful paradise of love where we can all live together in harmony. Harmony, there's no greater virtue and no greater thing to aspire to. And so let's bring it on. Let's do our best to bring it on.
That's exactly how I feel too. You know, I'm just ready for it now. I'm ready to start just putting myself out there and exposing everything now. You know, it's time.
It is. It is.
You know, I feel like really full of energy right now for it. And, you know, I've been like healing myself this last few months, and I feel at a point now where I'm ready. So that's good. So
yeah,
I felt the shift too as well. Since the new year come in, I felt a really big energy shift, and it actually really drained me at first as well. I've slept a lot. But over the last few days, I'm feeling really, really energetic and strong, and like there's been a real change. You can literally feel the change, feel the energy. It's really good.
So you know, for maybe those people who aren't necessarily feeling what you guys are talking about, why do you think things are changing, and in what way are they changing in your realities?
In many ways, people are waking up. They're waking up to many things on many levels. Spiritually, for instance, people are waking up. No longer are they going to traditional organisations for satisfaction. They're moving on, you know. So a lot of churches are shutting doors because people are sick of the hypocrisy, the corporate money greed of these churches. Politically, people are not, you know, a lot of people are not even voting anymore, you know. The media, no one turns on to CNN anymore, you know. They go to the internet because they find that what they find on the internet resonates more with what's here and what's here. And there's cognitive dissonance when they go to CNN and BBC and all these liars run by Rupert Murdoch and people like that. You know, like, I'm not attacking him, just isolating him, but, you know, individuals with so much power, is that what we really want? And so people are turning away from these mainstream, draconian, old ways that don't service them, you know. And they're also getting their own intuition. Their own intuition tells them that something is wrong.
Yes.
Something is wrong.
That's right.
Why do we have to support this condition of continual war since 1914, done by the banksters, you know, and the Federal Reserve and organisations like, the CIA was founded in 1947, of course, but they've been responsible for everything since. And so, why? You know, the Vietnam story debacle and Korea and then Afghanistan.
That's a mess. And it never makes any sense, and it's all based on lies, and later there's no accountability, and there's so many people dead and so much money spent, and it's totally unauditable and unaccountable, and the death and the suffering is you can't account for that. It's just, you know, I have friends who are still messed up from Vietnam. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it's crazy. It is, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. People are starting to seek that out, and like the more people obviously that are waking up, it's the shifts obviously being like energized by everybody that's waking up, because they're all spreading the word too. You know, just even little bits of information that people are picking up on just from things that you post, and then they tell another person, and it really is starting to develop in a lot of, you know, unexpected ways for me, I think, as well, from people that I didn't expect. And you know, all the little ways that people are waking up to, all the small things people are waking up to, like the vaccines that they're giving to children, and waking up to, you know, what education's doing to children, and, you know, little things like that are leading people onto the other things, because it's undeniable now. There's so much information out there. There's so much proof, people can't deny it. People could, like the chemtrails, for instance, people deny them, but there's that many people putting the chemtrails out there, it can't be ignored anymore. You know, because there's so much information out there. The only way people are getting by without seeing it is just by being ignorant.
Yeah.
But there's going to be, it's just getting stronger and stronger.
Right. And yeah, and I think exactly, I think that's a good point, is that it's undeniable, you know, because you no longer are in control of your own life. How many cases have there been of the cops just, you know, framing people or arresting people or just going totally nuts for no reason, or they shoot people and then they get paid leave, you know, or raping women? It's endless, you know, and the horrors of war, and there's just nothing that's done about it. Or, you know, kids are being forced to take vaccines, and their own parents don't have a choice about it. Or you can't unenroll and homeschool your own children you have to follow their curriculum. Or there's just, so every aspect of every single person's life is being controlled, and so you are either okay with that, and you love Big Brother, and you're all about it, and you know, I'm the crazy one, or you feel like, hey, wait a minute. Now, I'm getting a little feedback. I want to, you know, maybe I don't want to go with every single thing the government and the media says. Maybe I want to make my own decision just this once. You know, I don't believe in the flu vaccine, or I don't believe in this, or I want to smoke pot, or whatever it is. And that's just not happening. You know, the government won't allow that.
This is because it's a de facto artificial government. It's not the de jure natural government. There's always been two systems: the counterfeit and the true. The de jure and the de facto. Now, the de jure would have to be living. We're auto-determined, self-determination it's called. And so this government, this de facto government, knows that we are governed by consent. It takes our consent, but it takes the consent of the living. You see, so I am a man and I have a person, you see. So when I do things in person, I'm doing things through and by this commercial instrument. This is a commercial instrument. It's a birth certificate.
Yeah.
It's what it. The date. There's two dates on them: the born date and the birth date. And the birth day is the day when this organisation was created. So an organisation was created. Here it's called Santo Bonacci. If you can see that, right? So Santo Bonacci was created on the 22nd of April in 1963. Can you still see me?
No.
No, it's gone.
Right, we'll try and get that back. But anyway, I'll continue. And so this person, this is now a legal name. Santo Bonacci is a legal name. We all have a legal name, but no one is a legal name.
Right.
So how the mind can control is happening and how all of this stuff that you were describing before, Russell, occurs to families. They steal children, they force vaccinate them and do things that are against the will and free will of the individual, is through the person. This legal name, this is the cause of all the misery and all the wars in history. Let me explain to you why. This is a Catholic benefice. Due to various papal bulls issued in the history of the Catholic Church, which I have documented very well in my video presentation called "The Vatican Owns Your Soul," I've explained here that due to this certificate, all the Vatican has claimed, in particular, the papal bull Unum Sanctum of 1302, they have claimed our soul, our property, and all real property on the planet. And they do that through this. This is a Catholic benefice. In other words, a benefit. And it's given to a parson. A parson is one who looks after the property of the church. So this is crown property.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Santo does not belong to me.
Of course.
And so if I do anything through this person, the government claims to have some rights through that. I believe it's called legal title, because this is a bond. It's a financial bond, and they split the title, and there's an equitable title and a legal title. So through this, the state / church, this is able to administer your estate. Okay, so every time I use this, I'm actually using copyrighted property. Now, you have to really think about the implications of that. That can really cause, that can be taken to be fraud. And you can go to jail for using this. You can go to jail for using this. And so anyone who does not have permission from the bar to use any legal name can go to jail. And if they, as many bar members do, intimidate you to joining your body as surety to this name, that is a crime. It's called personage or barratry. And in the United States, you can go to jail 20 years for joining someone to a legal name. That's how serious this is, guys. This is the Vatican's voluntary slave, people trafficking business.
Right, exactly.
Remember about a month ago, around Christmas, Pope Francis says, "Oh, we're going to abolish slavery," and all these.
I'm sorry, but that just is a good laugh, man. That's funny.
Yeah, one laughs because, excuse me, but Pope Francis, do you not know that this is a Catholic vestment, a Catholic garment given to a newborn to birth him into the ship of citizens so that they can come out of the land? Man is land. Because we come from the minerals of the nation where we are natives. So does not Pope Francis know that this certificate has a watermark in it? You can see a watermark through here, if I put it in the light. And that watermark, yeah, you guessed it, it's the Catholic immersion into water and what the Greeks call baptismo. It's a baptism, and they've taken you off the land and registered you in maritime law as a dead person. Now, you are lost in those waters. You are under the water. You are under this because you understand it.
Yeah.
And so, when a trust is created like this, false, of course, this is a false trust. It is assumed that this is a dead person unless after 7 years they declare themselves to be living. Now, I am living. I am not this dead person. This is my live birth record. This is my live birth record, and this is for the world to see. There it says, living. Male, living. Not stillborn. Okay? There it is. This document was created. This is a de jure, you could say it's a de jure treasury document that recognises and establishes your estate. This is your free-born right to have this. The Catholic Church baptizes you in the unholy Roman, the Holy See they call it, but it's very unholy. And so they assume now, if you do not come and claim this or show that you are dead, you are lost at sea.
Yes.
Incompetent, insane, and so this is evidence of a fraud that is being perpetrated against mankind.
Right, exactly.
Everyone who has one of these is considered to be lost at sea. Now, I know that a lot of people would just never comprehend any of this, what I'm saying, because it just sounds so ridiculously wrong to have such a thing in existence. This does not give you rights. This takes away your rights. It gives you benefits, services, and privileges. But they are not rights. Your God-given rights are taken away through this vessel, this bonded vessel that is floated as a security on the stock and bond market.
Right.
We have been civilized. We have been monetized. And the nations, the banks put all nations into debt in 1933, and governments were then required to issue these to newborns and make them persons.
Yeah, we got a New Deal.
Yeah. What they are doing is committing personage. Now, the scriptures, James 2:9 tells you God does not respect persons. Anyone who respects persons is sinning. Acts 10:34. You must not respect persons. The commandments. Do not bow down, bended knee to false images. This is an image that was created of the living man, me. I can never be this person. I am not named. I will not be named.
Right.
I am.
Right.
And so this is the beginning point. Legal name, and what comes from this, legal tender. Because when you see, legal tender is usury. So when you use this, when you open up a bank account and register with the voter registration,
It's endless. Endless.
You get a license to do something that otherwise unlawful.
Right.
Etc., etc. So when you go and use this, you are participating in usury.
Yeah.
And so the story of this is the story of Babylon the Great. So in the scriptures, this document reminds me of the scripture where it says, and they could not buy nor sell without the mark of the beast. This is the beast. It's the Catholic, but this is a Catholic garment or vestment. And the person that it is given to becomes a person. And the person has a purse. And that's why when you go to church in person, to court, in person, you will be paying out of your purse.
Right.
So, and you will be stocked away as stock, because this is evidence that you are stock. Unless you rebut that, unless you reclaim your life by dealing with this. This is the beginning of all error that has ever occurred on the planet. Nothing is more dangerous and deadly than this certificate. It is like a death certificate. Now, many people have tried various ways of claiming this and putting an end to this slavery. What I'm going to do, including this show here, I will use this show as an addendum
Wonderful.
to a 5 to 10 minute statement, declaration, will, agreement, contract by me to the universe, and whereby I will declare that I will remove all presumptions and assumptions that I am a legal name, and anyone intimidating me to join my body to a copyrighted name which I have no right to use will be liable for attempted murder, trespass, and extortion. Because that is attempted murder. It's an attempt to murder my soul, to destroy my character and reputation, and to commit personage themselves by creating financial instruments for the purpose of financial gain. There is only one reason why you are dragged into court and summoned. You can only summons the dead, and that is not for justice, but for commercial gain, for profit. That is mind control, Russell. That's where it begins. Mind control begins with this legal name. Legal is not lawful. Now, what does it mean to be lawful? Well, I'll give you my meaning of what it means to me be lawful, because what I intend in my words, I will not allow anyone to assume that there is another meaning. And this is how you must make your contracts with all people, especially those costumed ones that are trained to intimidate you to commit personage. I would be addressing, first of all, the fact that the name does not belong to you.
Bless you.
There is no legal name that belongs to me. To be lawful would mean to love all beings, to have forbearance,
yes,
to love harmony, to have peace,
right.
Do not injure or harm.
Of course,
yeah.
Of course.
Of law. Beyond that, when you start writing down little codes and saying, "Oh, but what about speeding and what about this and then you've got 6,000, 10 codified laws, and we're supposed to know those all." That's the world of legalese, dear friends. That's legalese, and if you're going to play that game, well, I don't know how to put this, but I can warn you that the consequences will be dire. They will not be temporary. You will enter into contracts that you did not know you were entering in. Many, many contracts have been opened with this instrument. This is a very, very powerful instrument. There is nothing like this. There's no subject like this to discuss. This is the beginning of all evil that has ever been undertaken. Much bloodshed has gone on with this.
Yes.
Through that legal name.
Yes.
Dear friends, first thing we must do is address this issue of legalism, artificial law, positive law, in other words, admiralty, equity, common law, whatever name you want to give it. It's all a crock. It's all a crock, because there is only absolute law, and it's universal. You can call it divine, natural, but it's absolute law. Harm no one, because if your intent is never to do harm, there is no law against this. You can never ever be prosecuted. You can never be sentenced, and you can never be punished, because it's your intent that must be judged and must be known. And if anyone is going to make a false instrument like a warrant or something like that, to the dead fiction name, to that name, and try to pin it on me or anybody, this is a great crime.
It is.
And
it absolutely is.
To operate from that point, because otherwise you will always be led into, without your consent, without your knowing, into contracts commercial contracts which have been monetized. It's all monetary, guys. The courts, those administrative courts, they are all for money. It's
Right.
all commercial.
Right.
And this is the concept of the whore of Babylon the Great.
Right.
And the name 666 is the CUSIP numbers. They all have 6 digits. SIN number, your voter registry number, your passport number, your birth certificate number. These are all 666. You see? And because they have 9 digits in them and 9 upside down, there's 3 sets of them, okay? In every nation, every country, there's 3 sets of these CUSIP numbers and what have you. And they all have 9 digits in them, and 9 upside down is 666. Now, they know what they're doing. These guys have been bonding people, gluing people to legal fictions for thousands of years. This is Babylon the Great.
Right.
But there is a scripture that says in past tense that Babylon the Great has fallen. And you know what that means? That means Babylon the Great is over. Because not just me, but many thousands of people have woken up to this.
Yes.
But one should awaken to their rooms, their scam. It's over.
You're right.
Even if they try to do something to you, the youth now knows that this is a scam. They cannot do it honourably or virtuously because they can do all this from in honour. That's noble. And by the way, honour, I just learned recently, means to pay.
Yes, that's exactly right. You have to honor your debt or honor your agreement. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it all has to do with redemption, which is redeeming a bond, right?
Yes.
Yes, exactly right. Exactly right. See, so it's all financial. And I wanted to interject and basically say that when you make certain contracts, it goes beyond this world. And what we're really dealing with are these metaphysical principles of alien control. And this is where the term control, we get archon and anarchy. And you mentioned the word draconian. So I just wanted to spin that in and put that back to you because it's all connected.
Yeah, redemption of the bond. I'll tell you the true name of this. This is called an indulgence. This is a remnant of the Holy Roman Inquisition. This is a remnant of the control system.
So when are you guys getting a call?
Babylon the Great. I am. Yes, I'll just hang on. I better stop that. I'll grab that. Yeah, no worries.
That's life, right? People want to.
Yes.
You're popular, so it's okay.
Yeah. So I've brought it to the attention of the world, guys, that this certificate, this has been purchased by the banks, and because we were put into debt 80 years ago in the 30s, forced to go into debt, we have been put up as the surety for this.
Correct.
Monetized, chattelized, collateral.
Livestock.
Livestock. And so this is what is called an indulgence. Most of these documents are drafted up, all legal documents are drafted up by what is known as scrivener notaries. Scrivener is one who scribes.
Right.
Inscribe. Venet is an indulgence. So a notary who is a scrivener notary, and he writes all your writs and summonses and subpoenas and all of those. Well, I don't know about subpoenas because subpoenas are de jure, right? So, and they are responsible for drafting and writing all of those. They are indulgence writers. Woe to you, scribes. Woe to you, lawyers, for you have thrown away the keys of understanding, and you hinder these little sheep from going into the kingdom. Better it would have been neither do you You hinder the little children, and neither do you go in. Better it would have been for you to tie a millstone around your neck and cast yourselves into the sea. Yeah. That's the sort of people that we're dealing with, guys. Woe tribes.
That reminds me of the Bill Hicks bit where he's talking about advertising and marketing, and he's saying if you're into marketing, just kill yourself.
Yeah, it would be better just kill yourself now, because at the end of days, the contracts that you've signed, like you said before, Russell, they spill over into other lives and other dimensions, and you're going to have to face them one day.
That's karma. What goes around comes around. That's do unto others as you'd have. Because what we're dealing with, and this is a point I wanted to make earlier when you were talking about the shift in energy, is we're dealing with a fractal reality, because this is all the mind of the holographic mind of the Creator unfolding and spinning.
It is. We are in the mind of God. Universe is mind. And you could say we're cells. We're like little dendrites, synapses, and nerve cells in the mind of God. That's how Plotinus and Proclus, the Neoplatonic philosophers of the 3rd and 4th century, put it. He says, we look up and you see the stars, you see the cells in the mind of God.
Exactly. Beautiful.
And so, yeah, because the magnetic universe, which is universal mind knowing, is prime creator.
Exactly.
It's white.
Yes.
And white light doesn't vibrate, so it's pure. It's still. It's silent. It's omniscient. It's omnipotent. It's omnipresent. It's immortal. And that God, which is not named in the Jewish system, we call that one Ein Sof. In Hebrew, Hindu, it's Anama, no name. There's no name for prime creator.
Yes.
We are under prime creator. I wouldn't be going to court saying, "Oh, I'm a man of God. I'm a worshipper of God," because God means the electrical God of effect. That's the universal mind thinking. That's the demiurge. That's Jehovah. That's the demigod. It's not one creator. That's the second creator. Demiurge means second creator. Because electricity, red and blue light, vibrating, it's a force.
Yes.
And that's called the creator. That's God. Generation, operation, dissolution.
Yeah.
Creator, preserver, destroyer.
Yeah.
Birth, growth, decay. That's electrical. Red and blue light.
Yeah.
It's impure.
Or like George Lucas, right? May the force be with you. This is it's all the same thing. We're all. That's why people are obsessed with these concepts.
Yeah, that's why Neo, which is an anagram for one,
right?
Magnetic white light, which is one, was given the option of the red and the blue. They're like your police, red and blue. The ambulance, red and blue. Red, white, and blue flags.
Right. The army, and the navy.
Yeah, the Holy Trinity, red, white, and blue, because red and blue, dualisms, polarity, the dualistic world of illusion and war and fighting, war and love, chaos and order, comes from the white, still world of all knowing. And
right.
That's where our nature is. We are from there. That is our home. It's called the Empyrean, the home of the gods. We return there. This little body you see here, this frail thing that you can see talking to you, this is a vessel that will be used as a light body in this red and blue world. You see my blue chakra is here and my red chakra is at the bottom of the torso. There's a reason for that. When you add blue and red together, you get purple. You see, purple is the crown chakra. It is known that this energy from the head is purple, you see, because this is where the divine purple light, which is from red and blue, is pointing to the white light, because purple is the fastest frequency. That's it. Yeah. Purple is. Yeah. It's the fastest vibration that the human eye can see. That's why beyond that is called ultraviolet.
Yes.
So we can see violet, but we can't see ultraviolet or infrared. So if the bottom chakra of my body is red and the top is violet, ultra is above, and infra, meaning under, infrared is below. So see how limited our senses are, and how eyes play these tricks. And so these men out there, the judiciary, the politicians, and all these organisations out there that are out there to mind control the rest, including churches. These are men who they have never meditated and stopped to find the white light. These are men who are into the red and the blue.
Right.
This is the red. The red hemisphere is the left masculine.
Right. Exactly.
Intellectual mind. This is the blue intuitive. And intuition is directly connected to cause. It's directly connected to cause and source. Intuition. Logic is not.
Right.
It's disconnected.
Right.
And in between the two hemispheres is the red corpus callosum. That's the Red Sea that the children of Israel must go to get into the promised land.
Right.
East is the right. The right. And so this is why they tried to get us to be more left-brained by getting us to use the right hand to write.
Exactly. Evil, and it was evil.
And sinister, left, is wrong, isn't it?
The left-hand path.
We'll see when you...
force children to stop using their left hand, didn't they?
Yeah.
I was actually earlier.
Yeah, very true, Stephanie. And when you meditate, what you're doing is you're actually going into the corpus callosum in the middle, and you're going to where the white light is. That's why, if you find the white light for a split second only, you can go into an eternal abode of all known and all bliss, Sat Chit Ananda, bliss, consciousness, and existence. And so, when one meditates and meditates on this point here, pineal gland, see, because that's the eye that it sees through white light. These ones, these two, there's two eyes, physical eyes, because the physical world is dualistic. The spiritual world is not. And so these red and blue, this one's ruled by the sun and this one by the moon in the masculine, and opposite for the feminine. But the sun, represents that red light, and the moon represents the blue.
Right.
And so these eyes can only register vibration. That's what light is. And so, but this one doesn't. This one registers no vibration. Well, it can, but the pineal gland, the third eye, hence the little bindi here that the Hindus put on to stimulate the third eye, so that they are more spiritual and not so material. This is the center. And so when we still this noise from the intellect that's telling us to, pay attention to your story, pay attention to your pain and your misery, and the politicians who are talking on TV,
right?
They're talking, telling you about
getting sucked into the illusion.
Terrorists. Just take a trip to this little old fella here, guys, and George Bush and Tony Blair and all their stories just disappear. And this is what we all must do. Not pay attention to these people. Not give them legal tender. Not give them legal name. That's their game. Two things we must do urgently. Lose the legal tender, lose the legal name.
I agree with you. And the thing is that what that comes down to then is people have to learn how to trust each other and work together and live without the system.
And we can.
Of course we can. We were born to do it.
Yeah, basically, we're overeating, and because we are so afraid of starving to death, which we never will. You can live on a few blades of dandelion and plant argo and herbs that you find in your backyard. If you know how to juice, you can live off juices. All you need is a juicer, and you can put that on your knapsack, and you can hitchhike and just not have a home and live off the plants on the side of the road if you know how to juice.
If you had to,
you know
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this thing where we have to have shops with lots of
Right.
pastries and cakes, and food and meat and
McDonald's and Carl's Jr. and Taco Bell and the movies and the popcorn and the soda and the beer and the cigarettes and lottery tickets and the gasoline. It's all addiction and consumption.
Consumption, commerce. We don't need it.
No, of course
that's
not.
How they get us, because they tell us you need food. You need to eat cows and eat them. You need to kill fish and eat them. You need to eat. You need to eat. And you need to go to the shop over there. And so they're hurting people that way. Let's lose the overeating, the gluttony.
Oh, it's horrible.
I mean,
Look, and that's another right. That's a point I wanted to make with America being this prosperous land, and you look at the people, and it's all the sickest, most horrible people. It's what is that? What does that say?
Yeah, even the portions in America are like so much bigger than the ones over in England. I got warned when I came over to America that like when I was going to be eating out there, to watch for how much the portions would be. And the proportion to what the Americans eat towards the British is very different.
You wanna supersize it?
That would last me all day. Literally. And
Yeah.
what's the deal with bacon for breakfast? What's the deal with bacon and everything?
There's a basically in this country specifically, and I've lived here, so I can say it. I can't speak from experience of living my whole life in other countries necessarily, but people here have an obsession with death and gore.
Yeah.
It's an animalistic lust for blood.
Yeah. And that was done through agencies like Hollywood. Hollywood is there to and not always. I mean, there's some inspirational and beautiful stuff that's
Sure.
from Hollywood. Because artists, true artists, men and women living, go there and they are geniuses and stars in their own right. But, I mean, these great big studios have been controlled by the military-industrial complex and the corporations and families that run them and the media agencies. And they've done a number on us through Hollywood.
Yes, I literally live right down the street. I literally live right down the street from WB, and WB murdered Stanley Kubrick for making Eyes Wide Shut.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and Sony murdered Michael Jackson.
Oh
They
yeah.
murdered Whitney Houston, and Robin Williams opened his mouth and spoke out against the military-industrial complex 1 week before he was murdered.
Yeah.
And he also spoke about all the pedophiles in the Catholic Church. This is pedophilia, man.
Right.
This is pedophilia. You know how many of our young brothers and sisters are in jail because they were legally bound by this bond through the stock market, and they were a stock, and they were considered to be dead and lost at sea, baptized under that watermark. This is urgent. This is tragic. It is tragic. This is the cause of all harm. Dear friends, we get rid of this. When you deal with this properly, you will be free. We will all be free. We should all do it en masse. This is what I'm going to advocate from now on. I'm not going to advocate hatred towards. I'm not going to advocate hatred towards anybody or any kind of revolt, any kind of anything other than just acknowledge that if you participate in this commerce and use this name which is copyrighted, and I didn't copyright that anything here, so I don't have permission. It's very, very unlawful to do it, but very, very dangerous, and you go to jail only because of this.
Yeah.
If that is of course, if you haven't been, sentenced by a jury and a proper court of your peers, but all those administrative courts, this is the reason for people being in there.
Right.
And so all we have to do is deal with it, lose it, whatever. Find out, enlighten yourself, find out exactly what is the best way for you to deal with this. I'm not advocating this way or that way. As I said, there are people who put liens against this. Then there are people who perhaps get them authenticated at the state level, at the federal level, and then they submit this with an affidavit attached
Right.
saying, hey, I'm not a decedent, I'm not a minor, I'm a major, I'm living, and I'm au fait with the facts presented therein,
Right.
and so they submit that into the registry, and they get that recorded,
Right.
not registered, recorded. You get it recorded, and so you change your status, and they've had remedy with that. But I'm not advocating any of those things because, well, I'm a philosopher. Okay?
Right, exactly.
But primarily, I'm a lover of wisdom. And if I'm a lover of wisdom, I cannot love this. Either you love God, as they say, which I wouldn't do. I don't. Greater, dissolver. It's all about electricity. So, if I love Prime Creator, which is me,
Right, exactly. Reality, existence.
Prime Creator, I cannot love this. That's my thing. I'm doing it that way, and come what may, because my heart tells me to do that. Get
Yes.
out of Babylon.
Right.
Why should you participate in this commerce?
Right. Yeah, it's evil. You're right. And I guess my feeling about the whole thing is that basically once we all realize that it's a scam and we just stop participating and stop giving any energy towards it, we don't fight the wars, we don't arrest each other, we don't kill each other, we don't steal from each other, we all help each other, and we won't play into any of the bullshit, then the game is already over.
Exactly.
That's what it's really about. It's a war of consciousness. And once people just wake up and snap out of it, snap out of the hypnosis, it's over. We can all live in peace and love and happiness and create a paradise on earth.
Yeah. Yeah, the root of mind control is the birth certificate.
Say that again, I'm sorry. One more time.
The root of mind control, the theme of today's show, is the birth certificate.
Correct.
Because why? Because one might argue, no, it's not. It's the education system. It's the churches. It's
those
the
are
government.
extensions of it. Yes, it's like the octopus.
Parts of it of the same thing, yeah. They'll
Well-
stem from the birth certificate.
Yeah, well, they are actually, they all get their power through this. That they exist.
Exactly. They all
Not
come
the
from
right.
it. They're like branches of it. Yeah.
They can only, Tavistock, CIA, governments, all of these fictional entities can only exist on bits of paper. See,
Yeah.
government of Australia, big boss, big man, chief, all these things are signing here. It's giving you the stature. You've signed on with these big boys. This is government. It doesn't exist. Where is the government? Can I go and say hello to the government? Hello, government. What's your It's a concept.
Right, it's laughable for sure.
Yeah.
I govern my
Right, and the word government means mind control.
Mind control, yeah.
So there it is. And I guess the point that I wanted to make is that freedom is, to me, when you can do what you want to do so long as you're not hurting anybody else. And freedom also means that you have the right to life because you're here. And so as long as you're not hurting anybody, then why should anybody hurt you? And you obviously have the right to defend yourself if somebody is encroaching on your own freedom and your own life. And what it comes down to is that to ensure freedom, you have to be willing to die. And when you're willing to die for freedom, then you're free. Because when you're not afraid of death, then you can live your life. But if you're living in fear of death, then you're not living at all because you're a slave to your own fear. And that's basically the metaphysical test, so to speak, which we're all undergoing. And most people are failing flagrantly.
That's it. I mean,
Thank you.
yeah, there's so many people that are just clinging on to that fear. And they've just got everybody, like you say, so mind control with that fear. And that's why we just need to open people's eyes to this, educate people, and like say the birth certificate. So many people don't know nothing about it. So many people haven't even looked at the birth certificate.
Right. And I also want to make... Yeah. I also want to make a point that this is why all of the indigenous cultures have been smashed out, and there's been literal genocide in every single continent, in every single sect and clique or whatever tribe. They've all been wiped out because and all of the legal system has made all of these plants and having all of these shamanic experiences illegal because it would give people the literal intuitive knowingness of what God is and their true nature and the nature of this reality and the nature of death and life, and therefore then they couldn't be controlled. And so that's why people have been, like you said, herded and corralled into a certain experience where they're living in a mental, and now we've created our own physical prison out of it. And that's why Bob Marley said, free yourself from mental slavery, none but ourselves, or emancipate yourself from mental slavery, none but ourselves can free our minds. You know, and what was that song called? It was called Redemption Song. We were just talking about that. It's very funny how it all ties together, you know?
Yeah. The redemption comes from atonement at one moment. And this, like a redemption bond, see, that's proof of the fact that the courts are ecclesiastical.
Yes, exactly.
Of course, they're commercial. We've already discussed that, but we must understand that the underlying base is it's ecclesiastical. It's a church.
Right, and it's based on morals and dogmas which are unreal.
Yes, it's based on the fact that in 1302, Unum Sanctum declared that the whole world is the property of the Catholic Church.
Correct.
So we, as parsons, holding the property of the church, we are required to make money and find intellectual property to give to Mother Church. The Mother gave as a gift. This is a gift from the Mother Church. And so as parsons now, you see, we are parsons, persons, respondents, defendants, accused. Well, that's pretty positional, isn't it?
Yeah. And some of us are perverts.
Yeah. Yes. They've made us lost at sea, incompetent.
Right.
Yeah.
Lost at sea, because this is the Holy See. The watermark is in here. We are baptized under this. This is why the Catholic Church has a confirmation at the age of 12.
Right.
Because you see, they need another 6-year contract or 7-year contract to bring them up to the age of majority, so that they can confirm their crime. You see, they won't just post that bond again and continue another year cycle unless they can get a confirmation from the child.
Right.
Please confirm that you are Catholic. Please, so that they don't bear the full onerous responsibility of the crime that they have just created. Right. The child comes forward, he confirms his confirmation to the Catholic Church, and then the Catholics wipe their hands and go, "Thank you very much. We have a bond for another 7 years, and we shall bring money to the church and make the Vatican rich and rich and rich." I wonder whether Pope Francis knows any of this. I don't think he discussed that at the summit he had slightly.
Well, yeah, he was too busy. He was too busy molesting children, you know. But anyway, I wanted to make a point. Speaking about child molesters, I wanted to talk about Disney and the Disney programming, and even in the word Disney, the way they spell it, it has 666 in it. If you look at it on a subliminal level. But the theme of virtually every Disney story of these fairy tales, which are all based in magic, these magical principles, is basically, and this goes back to what church is, which is Circe, which is the sorceress that is casting a magic spell and hypnotizing you and turning you into a pig so that she can feed off of you, you know, and maybe that goes to what you were saying about bacon, Stephanie, right? Why do Americans love fucking bacon so much, you know? But but basically, it has to do with disillusioned children who are abused by their parents and cast aside to a society where now they are on their own as children and forced to deal with the harsh realities of life. And then there is some magical principle which is coming along to save them, but it's never what they think it is. And then somebody has to ultimately save them. And then magically it all works out. And they ultimately gain their sovereignty. Right? Isn't that basically what it's about? Freedom and sovereignty? Because they're dangling it in front of everybody and they're saying, but actually you need to have a bunch of sex and spend a lot of money and be rich, like us, the royals, because it's all about, every single movie is about royalty.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, we was talking about the Disney thing.
Yes, this is important too.
Because I've actually seen it. I've seen Disney brainwash it on a little girl that I know, and it's actually really shocking to see that little girls at like 7 years old are being so sexualized by Disney and living in a world that they're already thinking about
Makeup and dresses and thongs and
impressing the opposite sex at 7 years old. I've witnessed it. I've witnessed a little girl that watches Disney movies all day long. Favourites being The Little Mermaid, Cinderella, Tangled, and literally she's living in a little dream world, and she's already at the stage where she's literally waiting for the prince to kiss her. It's ridiculous. She's 7 years old, and I was a big fan of Disney myself. I grew up watching Disney films, and even into adulthood, I really liked Disney films. And since waking up, there's just the way that I see Disney films now is so different. I mean, it's just so brainwashing. I mean, all the subliminal messaging in it.
Right, exactly.
It's just so bad. When I actually have watched things back now, like when I first heard about Disney being perverted, that was one of the biggest shocks to me, because they've really pulled the wool over everybody's eyes. How many parents show their children Disney films? And I think it's a good thing if you're watching a Disney film, if you shove your child in front of the TV with a Disney film. And then you've got The Little Mermaid with the priest. I don't know if you've ever seen that.
Yeah, with his dick, he's got the boner, and yeah, exactly.
I had to literally dig out the film to find out if that was fake on YouTube, and I actually watched the actual film just to see it, and I was in complete disbelief. The rescuers with the topless woman, Sex in the Sky of Lion King, it's all drummed into their heads, and they're seeing all these images, and it's really sexualising them, and they're just growing up too young. 7-year-old girls should not be thinking about the things that they're thinking about, and it's just drumming it into their heads.
Yeah, for whatever reason, the feedback it's kind of bad, so it's looping, but whatever. No, but the point is really good. You're exactly right, Stephanie. And ultimately, the people who run the world are pedophiles, and what they're doing is they're feeding off of our creativity and our love and our innocence and our purity and our beauty, and they're twisting it around in this black magic alchemical formula, and they're turning our the hearts of gold into lumps of coal, and that's where the whole story of Saint Nick and Santa, which is Satan, it all is just this manipulation.
Santa Claus thing really got to me this year, because again, I've only been awake for about 2 years, so Christmas for me has always been just like everybody else's. Christmas this year was completely different, and I got to actually thinking about the whole idea of Santa Claus and how the way that Santa Claus leaves poor children out. The way that children have to think to themselves, oh, Santa gets that child more. The whole idea of Santa is just not nice anyway.
Well, it's all based in mind control, because it's teaching your children bullshit, to believe in fairy tale bullshit, when really you're supporting a slavery system. And you're supporting a system of indoctrination where you're actually breeding out critical thinking from your children, because you're deluding them from an early age when they have to develop critical thinking skills. And the people that run the world, they know this. So that's how they're mind controlling older people, and they figure if you grew up that way, then you're just going to do it. And they're everything is reinforcing that programming, from the movies to the shopping to the radio to the newspapers and everything, all the advertising. Well, Satan. It's Satan.
Exactly. It's just pure evil. It really is.
And what people don't understand is that on all of these, quote, holy days, they're sacrificing children and doing all of these rituals, and there's wars going on, and there's homeless people starving, all in the name of Jesus.
So people are sat home with all the presents eating their Christmas dinner. They can ignore all that, which is really wrong. That's the concept of Christmas I really dislike, because how can you sit there with all your presents and your family and your big dinner while there's homeless people, while there's people starving? It's just so selfish. Christmas, they say, oh, Christmas is about loving and giving. It's actually not. It's about being selfish, spending loads of money and contributing to being a slave. That's all that it is. And when you go out and do this, that, and the other. Not anymore. Christmas is completely different for me now because I see it for what it is, and it's selfish. It's horrible. There's nothing good about it when you actually think about the way Christmas actually is. The way that families come out of the woodwork and send people presents that they don't bother with all year on. Everything's just wrong and twisted about it. The whole concept.
Well, the whole point is that we're supposed to be good to each other all the time, not only like 6 days a year.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's why it's all about spending money as well to show someone you care. You don't need to spend money to show someone you care.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate side of this corporate church structure and corporate world, because that Christmas is that we've just been describing. That's the commercial Christmas. The real Christmas, is always on the ecliptic. It's dealing with the solstice, right?
Right, precisely.
Santa Claus, I've done this in some of my presentations. Santa is an anagram for Saturn, and the crown chakra, Kronos is Saturn. So the 7 chakras correspond to the 7 planets. Kronos is the crown on the top, purple. He is Saturn, Kronos, and he is also Santa. So he's at the North Pole. This is the North Pole. The chimney is your spinal column, and the bottom of the chimney is the sacrum, which is 5 fused bones that pivot. And so the holy claustrum just below the cerebrum is otherwise called the Santa claustrum, or the Santa Claus.
That's interesting.
It's a little closet that produces cerebrospinal fluid in the center of the brain. Is actually called Santa Claus.
Huh.
And he lives in the North Pole, and he has got a chimney. It's the spinal cord, and which is 18 inches long in a man, 17 in a woman, and 18 inches is that magic sun number, Ra, the letter R, the 18th letter of the English alphabet, Ra, the sun, 18, because 18 is a half of 36, which is 360 degrees.
Correct.
And so 18 inches in your back is half of a yard, 36 inches. So the yardstick that measures the temple of Solomon, the soul of man, is in the body.
Right.
And so when Santa Claus brings fluids, sacred fluids which secrete from the Santa Claustrum. So when the Apostle Paul in Colossians 1:27-28 says, "The Christ in you, I give you this sacred secret," he's talking about the Christ in you prism, the oil which flows from the claustrum, and it secretes and goes to the sacrum. Sacred, secret. Secretion comes from secret. Sacrum is the sacred stone of scone, the stone of Jacob at the bottom of your vertebrae. Because from there it must go back up, and as Moses raised up the serpent in the wilderness, so the Son of Man must be lifted up to be born again.
Yes.
So to be born again and to awaken from dormancy, we need to raise the cerebrospinal fluids and lift them up the Ida and the Pingala nerves and the vagus and the pneumogastric nerves, and we bring it up so it goes back into the cranium. This is the cave of Brahma. This is the grotto of Jesus where he died. And so in the third ventricle, and then what happens is that oil returns to the pineal gland,
right,
like the prodigal son who returns to his father's kingdom, and all the dormant brain cells are awakened, and you have your holy halo energy of
right,
divine light.
That's it.
And the mind control out there is designed to keep that energy down into the lower chakras.
Correct.
The bottom chakra is the moon, then Mercury, then Venus, and then the sun is in the middle, in the heart.
Right.
The middle chakra, the green one, that's the heart. And then this one, the thyroid, is blue, and then you've got your 2 purples, indigo and violet.
Sure.
And those are Jupiter and Saturn, the crown. And so when you go to court and they turn up and say, "I'm acting for the crown," and everyone's working for the crown. There's crown land here, there's crown land there. There's
crown chakra, yes.
The name is owned by who is crown? Well, it's Saturn, but Satan in his pervasive. It's the black brethren of satanic worship, who are witches and conjurers and sorcerers, and the priests of Baal, the Inquisition. That's who. See, because Saturn is Satan, the most evil, but Saturn is Kronos, the crown chakra, the most beneficent.
Right. And right. And so that's, and that's where it goes back to there's nothing new under the sun, because where everything points to the same thing, and whether it's leading you towards it or away from it, it's all the same thing. And again, the reason that Santa is red and white is the Emerita muscaria mushroom. On the winter solstice, the local village shaman would take a sleigh pulled by reindeer and go and deliver mushrooms for everybody, and they would trip. And so what enlightenment is all about is connecting with the spiritual realms while still in a physical body.
Yep. That's right, because the kingdom of God is within.
Correct.
Why should we wait for the coming one to come in the clouds and bring us enlightenment when you can be enlightened?
Or wait for ourselves to die. Why do we have to die to know the answers?
Yeah, it's heaven is a condition. It's not a location. So if we want to enjoy that condition, heaven on earth, rather than hell on earth, which is what these people have created.
Correct.
The slave drivers of Rome. Rome is in the Jewish system. Rome is the fourth captivity. Remember, the children came up out of the land of Egypt once. And then the children of Israel came out of Babylon, where they sat down under those trees along the rivers of Babylon. And then, of course, Esther and Mordecai delivered them at Purim from the Medes and the Persians. But has there been any delivery of the children of Israel, the children of God, from Rome yet? This is it. This is it. We have to lose this and go back into de jure living government, which is govern your own mind, and lose the person, because everything you do in person will be personage and will bring you karmic benefit. Watch the word benefit, for years and aeons and ages and lives to come.
Well,
lives to come.
Blessings to that. What else can we do besides be free and express our freedom and love and truth?
Yeah, sure.
So, I don't have anything else to say.
I need to go because it's later here in the UK. It's 2:12 a.m.
Yeah. Wow, that's late. Okay. So, how long are we going for? Or is that about it?
I think that's wonderful.
Yeah, I think it's really. I mean, I learned a lot.
I don't mind this more regularly too, because the visuals are good. Not many people record. It's all radio and audio. And because I need to get a lot of information out really, really soon, just in case.
That's life.
Because I've got the information and I need to get. So I'm happy to do more, guys. If you.
Anytime you'd like, man. This is what we, like I said, this is what we were born to do.
Yeah. Okay. I'll call you in the next couple of days.
Wonderful. All right. Well, blessings to you both, and blessings to everyone who watches this. Go Team Light, right?